Opie and Josie are pilots. One morning they both take a trip in a light aircraft. Opie flies 50 kilometers north and then turns and flies 100 kilometers west. So what's he done? He's going to go 50 this way, and then he's going to go 100 this way, and that will be a right angle. And so the distance is going to be the hypotenuse here, and we also want his bearing from the start point. Well, that would be clockwise from north, so this angle would be nice to know. So we can use the activities once again. So let's go and use the Pythagoras activity, and we're trying to work out the hypotenuse, which is C, given the other sides are 50 and 100. And that gives me 111.80, so that's 111.80 kilometers. Now for the angle, this would be the opposite and the adjacent, so we'll use the tangent. And we're trying to work out the angle, given that the opposite is 100, and the adjacent is 50. So that's 63.43. So the bearing is going to be 360 take away 63.43 degrees. So let's just nip to main, and 360 take away 63.43, and we should just give this as three figures, so we'll call that 297 degrees. I'm just going to keep a note here of the 296.57 because I might use that in another part of the question. Josie flies 80 kilometers on a bearing of 155, so let's think about her. She's gone down here, such that this is 155 degrees. And we want to know how far south and how far east she is. So we want to know this distance here and this distance here. Now, we know that's a right angle, so that means if that whole angle is 155, then this must be 65 degrees. And we know she went 80 kilometers. So tan 65 degrees. No, it won't be tan, will it? This one is the hypotenuse. This one's the adjacent. So that one's the adjacent, that's the opposite. So when we talk about how far south, we're finding y, so opposite and hypotenuse, so that's going to be the sine. So the sine of 65 degrees is going to be y over 80, and then we can find y. And when we find x, that's going to be the adjacent, so that's the cosine. So cosine of 65 degrees is going to be equal to x over 80. And then we can find those. So that's the case again. We could go to the activity, and I can go to the sine E activity. The hypotenuse is 80. The opposite is what we're trying to find, and the angle was 65. So we'll solve on that. And that is 72.50 kilometers, and then we'll go to the cosine, and we've got the 65 angle in there already. The adjacent was what we were trying to find. The hypotenuse is 80, that's there already, and that gives me 51.32. Sorry, 51.32 kilometers. Now, finally, we're told they both stop. Just get rid of the calculator for a second. At the end of their flight, Opie calls Josie and says he is feeling ill, so she flies directly to his position. How far does she have to fly, and on what bearing does she fly? So we need some information from above. Let's think about where Opie is. He's over here. So if I put a north here, and he's over here such that this angle is 63.43, and his distance there was 111.80. So he's up here somewhere. Now she's down here somewhere, such that this is 155 degrees, and we know that she flew 80 kilometers. So if we do 360, take away 63.43, take away 155, that gives us 141.47, 141.57 in here. And so what we're after is the distance, and we want the bearing on which she has to fly. Now if that's 155, that means this one is 25. Remember, we've got co-interior angles here. So if I can work out this as well, I can get the bearing, because then that would give us the distance we go around there. So to get D, I can use the cosine rule. So I'm going to go to the E activity and cosine rule, and I'm trying to work out the D here, which is the small a, and the B is 111.80. It's already in there, I could have used that, and 80, and the angle is 141.4757. So 181.42, so 181.42 kilometers, and so this is 181.42, and so we want this angle. So 111.80 over sine x is going to be 181.42 over sine 141.57. So we want the sine rule, and my small a is 111.8, and we're trying to find this one. And then we've got 181.42, and this one is 141.57. Now clearly it's not that. It's not 157.4782. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to main, and I'm going to do 180, take away the thing I just copied, and that gives me 22.52. So this angle in here is 22.52. So the angle I actually want is going to be 360, take away 22.52, take away 25. So 360, take away 22.52, take away 25, 312, and we'll give that just as a 3 figure.